That way is north, that way is south. So on the north side of the wooden beds, we've got snow. On the north side of the rock beds, ain't no snow, right? Because the rock gathers heat better than wood. Hey, it's Greg here at MaritimeGardening.com, and it's Saturday morning, February 1st, and we're about to get some snow today, but it's, I think the snow's about actually, it's just starting to come down. So, but anyway, the real snow's about 1 or 2 hours off. And so I thought I'd do a quick video before I lose the weather. And what I thought I'd do a video about today was to talk about observing your garden over the course of the winter to understand the hot spots and the cold spots. Now, bearing in mind that the sun sort of changes its, where it rises and falls over the course of the year. It's a bit, it's basically rises in the southeast and sets in the southwest in the winter. But still, I mean, as you're going into spring, right, where your garden is warm in the spring really matters to getting things started. So even looking at it this time of year, it can sort of tell you what beds get the most sun and what beds get the least sun, at least where I live, because over the course of the winter we get a lot of snow, but we get rain too, and then it melts and it gets really cold, it gets really warm. So we got melting and thawing and snowing and that sort of stuff. So like if you watched my video last week, everything was covered in snow, and now a lot of the snow is gone. There's still snow in places, and in my garden basically the snow is in the places where the heat-loving things don't grow as well, so you can learn from that. So let me just show you here. So this end of the garden is that way is north, okay, and it's sort of backing against a forest, and so you can see there's more snow over there, right? And then as you move in the south direction, there's less snow, right? So you can even see camera here. You can even see on the south, or sorry, yeah, like this. We're facing south here, so this snow didn't melt because there's a bit of it's in the shade relative to the angle of the sun, right? So all this information tells me that the beds over there are really not places I should be planting the heat-loving things: tomatoes, squash, corn, right? Things that need a lot of heat. I can still plant those. Great places to plant. And look, I can see there's the most snow over here. This is sort of like the darkest, coldest, shadiest spot in my garden. There's the most snow left there. And that's consistent with the results I get in these beds, right? Things don't grow as well here, they don't grow as fast here, and so on and so forth. So anything that really likes a lot of sun, really neat, like peppers and stuff like that, of course. They're hard enough to grow as it is in my garden, but yeah, this corner of the garden is for greens and things that can get by without sun. Like a thing like you could still grow potatoes without optimal sun. You're not going to get the best potatoes in the world, but you're going to have success, right? So I mean, a lot of people speak to me and they say, oh, this thing didn't grow, or that thing didn't grow, or this thing didn't work, or that thing didn't work. And I can tell you, for most vegetables, you get, and depending on where you live, of course, if you live something like Death Valley or something like that, there is such a thing as too much sun, I suppose. But if you're in the northern hemisphere and you're a northern latitude, really you want to, most vegetables, you want to hit them with all the sun they can get. And some vegetables, the results aren't really that good without the sun. So just about anything, so the beds that are over there, just about anything I can grow over there, it's going to grow better over here. Just about anything, except something like maybe a lettuce that I don't want to bolt, right? So yeah, that's a gem. And you can look over here. If you look a little further over, another thing you notice. So wooden beds, rock beds. You see any snow here? Right, the rocks collect heat from the sun, right? They melt everything, even on the north, on the south side, right? So these ones, basically the south side of the bed, there's that, not south, sorry, darn it. The north side, this is the north, that way is north, that way is south. So on the north side of the wooden beds, we've got snow. On the north side of the rock beds, ain't no snow, right? Because the rock gathers heat better than wood. Wood'll collect heat. It is a thermal mass, but the rock's just going to be better at that by nature of the fact that it's a rock. Rocks collect heat. That's why lizards like to lay out on them to warm themselves up. Anyway, that's just one more thing you can do this time of year when maybe you haven't got a lot going on in your garden. You can come out and take a walk around and just observe how that space is interacting with the climatic conditions where you are. And especially if you've got that dynamic like I have here, where you've got thawing and melting and an accumulation of snow, and then the snow goes away, and then it gets cold, all that sort of stuff. When the snow is melt, or even if you live somewhere where it's just everything freezes up and it gets covered in snow and it stays like that all winter, and then at some point it thaws out. When it's thawing out, have a look at where it thawed out last, right? That is a space where you should not be trying to grow heat-loving things. Things that like a lot of sun and a lot of heat and a lot of stuff like that, right? Those places are cold. Not only that, but those spaces where they thaw out last, it's most likely that the soil is frozen down the deepest. It's going to take the longest for that soil to thaw out. When the soil in the sort of warmer spots is up to a certain temperature, let's say 10 Celsius, the soil in those spots that still have the snow and ice, or the places that thawed last, the soil there might be 5 Celsius. So you're going to get better germinations in the warmer places. So you got to bear all that in mind. And of course, there's little tricks you can use to break those rules and get around it, and that sort of thing. But these are all things you are useful to understand in achieving better germination when you're planting your seeds, and just better results with the things you've planted there. Understanding the limitations of various space. If you have a gardening space, and let's say it's got various things. I mean, the reason I have that effect here is I've got trees and things surrounding the garden, casting shade and that sort of stuff, and I really don't want to cut them all down. The good thing about all the trees I have surrounding my garden here is they block out the wind. It's very, very windy here. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other sort of thing. Either you cut down all your trees and it's crazy windy, or you got some trees and you get less wind, but then you get shade. And it's you got to just figure that out. But anyway, understanding that aspect of your garden is going to have a good effect on your being successful, because you're going to know what you're working with, right? Isn't that line from the Dirty Harry movie? A man should know his limitations, right? Well, it's the same thing with understanding your gardening space. There's certain spaces in your garden that just can't do certain things. And there's certain places in your garden, those are your best spots. And those are where you plant the things that are most dear to you, or the most temperamental to grow, or the most demanding in terms of sun and heat. So I hope you found that interesting. If you did, please like, share, subscribe. Check out my podcast, maritimegardening.com. Don't forget to click the bell so you know when I've got a new video out. And until next time, get out there, get at it, have fun in your garden. Thanks for watching.